Hey, and welcome to another episode of Sewing with Shelby here on YouTube. This week's video is a sew along / tutorial, and the kit is bowl covers. Now, if you're anything like me, you have tons and tons of Tupperware and zero lids. Where do they go? No one knows. But this week, I have put together the kit and this video to help you sew your very own covers. So without further ado, let's get to it. So the first thing that we need to do is take both of our pieces of fabric and lay them right sides together. And I'm just going to do 4 clips all the way around. And then I'm just going to put, some squiggles so I know not to sew in that area. And I'll use my air dry pen. Evaporating. Here. And that may stay, but it may disappear. And then we'll go to the sewing machine and we're going to stitch at about a 1/2 inch all the way around. So I've moved my needle as far to the left as it could possibly go because I need a wide gap here. Because we're going to trim around this, then we'll sew on this side of it, and that's going to make our gap so we can thread our elastic through. So I'm going to start stitching, and then I will do my back stitches. And I'm going to constantly be turning this because we are sewing in a circle, but we need to make sure that we steer to keep the edge of our fabric on the edge of our foot the whole time. And I'm coming up to my end point here. Now that we are done sewing all the way around, we will take our scissors and we're just going to trim off without cutting into our stitches all the way around. You can use pinking shears for this part. I do not know where mine are, but I do prefer to use them. It's fun to put little designs on the edges, but it also keeps it from fraying. Okay, now let's turn this inside out. Right side out? I can never remember. If you have a chopstick or anything, you can use that to push out your sewn edges. I'm just going to do it with my fingers. Then I will take this to my ironing board and give it a good press. Alright, now that we have given this a good press, what we're going to do is take this to the sewing machine. Be mindful of the gap that we've left open, but we are going to sew in to create our lining for the elastic. Now, because this is going to be one continuous stitch, I've taken my air erasing pen and I've made an X right here where we have our opening, because this is where I will start and end my stitches. What we are trying to do is sew following this edge. This will be wide enough to thread our elastic all the way around. Okay, I'm coming up on my beginning stitches here. Now, most of the time whenever I thread elastic, I use my bodkin. I love my bodkin, but the space that we have sewn all the way around this bowl cover won't allow the wider part of the bodkin to go all the way through. So what I'm using instead are safety pins. And I like to attach a safety pin to both ends of my elastic because I'll hold this end and I just want to make sure I have a good grip.
This is a trick that I learned from my grandmother, and sometimes instead of holding on to the safety pin, she would clip it wherever her starting or end point would be, so she didn't have to hold it in her hand.
Now that I've made it to the end, I'm going to remove one safety pin, clip the other one. And what I'm doing here is feeding the rest of my elastic all the way through so it won't be bunched up in one area. See, it's much straighter here, but the bunching is all the way around on this end. Alright, now we're going to remove this. Make sure we have firm grip on both ends of this. And you can tie this in a knot or you can go sew it. I think today we'll just tie it in a knot. And then we'll push it on the inside. And go to our machine and sew it closed. Now once we're at our machine, it is important to remember that we need to sew as close to the edge of our fabric as we possibly can. So now I'm going to move my needle as far to the right as I possibly can. I am keeping a good hold on this while watching to make sure both edges of my fabric are lined up right here. And here's where our knot is. I have pushed the knot on the inside of the gap that we've sewn. I'm not going to sew all the way down to my knot because that is not where our hole is. Okay. And there you have it. You have now sewn your very own bowl cover. Now, these do fit on the small Tupperware containers, but I have put this on my kids' cereal bowls and anything that I have that is a 6-inch round. Now, I also let the kids eat ice cream out of their cereal bowls, and whenever I place it on the bottom, it prevents their legs or their hands from getting too cold. So this is multifunctional. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe because I release videos every Sunday evening. And if you go to my Etsy page, you will see all of the kits that we have available so far, and one comes out every week.